Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I want us to go back to our blog main page. We have been working on blog details page, but for now I would want us to work on the blog home page. So I want us to do some housekeeping. One of them is to ensure that these links work by ensuring that if I click on this, it takes me to my blog home page as well as this home link. So what we need to do, we need to navigate to our templates and blog.html. Then I need to search for anything that has index.html. All I want to achieve is anytime a user clicks on either the logo of our website or this homepage, or if there is any homepage link from the footer, I don't think there is one, it should reload the homepage or redirect to the homepage. So we have two instances. So for our index.html to be redirected to the homepage, what we need to do, we need to add a /. So in an instance where you have multiple changes to make, for instance, we have index.html and say we have 10 instances here, you can just do Control F, then paste what you want to change, then expand this and enter what you want to replace with the previous text. So I want to replace index.html with a /. Then there is this button, click on that to update all instances. Then another thing, we also need to confirm if there is a blog.html instance, and if there is, we also need to do the same. Once we do that, click on save, then come back to our homepage and reload. Once you do that, let's try if it's working. It's working. Then we also need to test if it's working on this page. Right, it's working. So let's try to navigate to one of our blog details page, and if we try to click on that, we are taken back to our home page. So enough of that. The next thing I want us to work on is working on these categories. So we need to display the categories that we have and the number of blogs that are associated with that category. So the way to do that, let's go back to our Visual Studio Code, then views. So what we need to do, we need to work on this view, the blog view, and we need to fetch the blog categories and count the number of blog articles associated to each and every category. So the way to do that, we can just achieve that by writing this line of code. So we have blog categories, we need to import categories from our models. So we have categories.objects dot, we can have dot annotate, then we have, let's call it blog count. We want to count the number of blog articles associated with each category that exists. So what we need to do, we need to do count, then we need to count from blogs, that is the blogs model. So besides that, we need to do some importation. You see, as you can see, these are the models that we included here is highlighted. So what we need to do, we need to import these models, and we are going to do that from django.db import models, and that removes that highlighting error. So after doing that, we will be able now to fetch our blog categories and also reference the number of blogs under each category. So we also need to reference this on our context. Once we do that, let's save, then go back to our blog.html page. Then let's look for categories. This is the section that we are looking for. So what we need to do, we need to identify the block that repeats, so that we delete the rest. So in this case, we have the array tag. This is the recurrent block. So let's minimize that. Let's minimize that. Let's minimize that as well. So we need to delete the repetitive blocks and remain with one. So what we need to do, we need to loop through these the li block. So we can first check if there exist any categories, because if we were to view this website before we upload any blogs, then we are sure that we would be having no category. So let's try to do an if check. You have an if else. So if blog categories, what you need to do, if we have any blog categories, do that. Then we end if, then we can add something here to show that we do not have any categories at the moment. No categories. All right, so we are saying if you have any categories, do that. Otherwise, display this. Then the next thing we need to do is that if we have some blog categories, we need to do a for loop for blog. Let's loop through like this. For blog category, in blog categories, then let's end our for loop here. That is where where our li tag ends. So we need to add something here. Let's confirm what we have in our blog categories. It's name. So it's so we have blog category.name. So what this one does, it fetches the name of our category. So besides that, we have let's come back here and fetch the number of categories, or rather the number of blogs associated with that category. So what we have blog category, then dot blog count. Remember, we assigned a blog count to this variable. We called it blog count. This is the name that we gave it. So it's the same name that we need to reference here, so that we can fetch the number of blogs. Once we do that, let's save. Then come back to our blog page, then reload. We have made an error. Let us see. Invalid. We have line 294. Let's check. As we mentioned, errors will always happen, but it's for you to check through and troubleshoot. So let me see. This error says invalid block tag in line 294 and for expected and if else and if. Right, let me check. So we started by checking if blog, then do that. All right, by checking on what is happening, we have had this line being, or rather a line break has been added here. So I probably think this is where the problem is. In this for statement, we may need to reduce the length of these variable here, because I believe there are some settings that I've applied on my Visual Studio Code that will format the lines of code that I add to either make them look appealing and all that. But in this case, the formatting was applied and it broke our code. So what we need to do, we can just reduce the length of this variable here. So let's say for category, in blog categories, let's see if it's gonna work for us. Let's press that with category. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to reduce the length of this variable here in the for loop. So let's save, and you see it has been pushed to the same line. So let's reload and see if we are going to receive the same results. So if we come back here and reload, let's see, we are yet to see any category. Let's check if everything is all right. So we said for category in blog categories, so we need to have, sorry, I think we made a mistake here. We need category. All right, let's save that, and we see it has broken it again. Let us check if we're able to achieve what we wanted. We are still not yet there. All right, so what we need to do, all right, let's reduce further this variable. Let's call it cut. So in this case, let us just name it cut, as we see if it works for us. So for cut in blog categories and all that. So let's save. Let's see if it works for us. And there we go. So we have been able to fetch the categories. Remember, we had two categories, and the number of category, or rather the number of blogs under each category. So let's add this. Let's add these brackets to the blog count. Once we do that, let's reload here. All right, these are the categories that we have and the number of blogs in each category. So the next thing that I want us to look at, okay, for now, let's try something. We can try and add a new category and add a new blog article and see if it will appear under the category section. So let's do that. And there we go. We have added a new category, and we have also added a new blog under that category, and we have been able to capture that on our blog homepage. So the next thing is to work on recent post. So we want to show our blog, our website visitor, the first 5 blogs that we have uploaded. So the way to achieve that, we need to come back to our views. Let's save that. Let's come back to our views. So what we need to do here, we need to fetch recent post. So we are going to do blogs. That is our blogs model. So we have blogs.objects. Then we need to use something we haven't used before. We need to order our blogs. We need to order by the date, that is our blogs, so that we are able to capture the blogs depending on the date that we posted them. So order by, then we have we had a date field, we had this date field, so we order by date. So the reason why we are having a minus is so that the ordering can be done in an ascending order. If we left it without the minus sign, it would have, or rather this line of code would have fetched the blogs from the first blog that we posted. But now we want to fetch from the latest blog that we posted. So once we do that, then we can limit the number of outputs to 5. So this is the way to fetch the first 5 latest blogs. So once you do that, ensure to add this one to our context. Let's copy that. Let's paste that as well. Once done, save, then come back to our blog.html. So we need to check. So we want a recent post. So let's search for that. So in this section, what you need to do, identify the repetitive block. So what I mean by repetitive block is the block that captures each recent blog, the one that holds this image, this line and the date. So once we are able to identify that, then we can remove the rest and just remain with one, so that we can loop through. So seems that we have this div seems to be the repetitive one. We can check through. This is the common. So what we need to do, we need to delete all the repetitive blocks and just have, or rather just work with one. So what we need to do here, we first of all need to check if we have any recent blogs. We need to do an if else statement here. So let's do that. If, then so if recent post, or rather if recent post, let's do that. Else, just tell our users that we have no post at the moment. Let's do a p tag. We have no post at the moment. Then let's do a for loop. For recent, let's do for recent in recent post. Let's do something. Let's do this, then end if in the end for in that section. So for recent in recent posts, do something, then end that for loop here. So what we need to do in this section, we need now to fetch the image of each prog. That is the first 5 progs. So we have recent.image.url. Remember, we said that for images you need to add this URL to either the image or whatever you called your image in this section. Then for this section we have recent dot should be is it title. We have title, recent dot title. Then we also have recent dot date. Let's save that and check. We are able to. All right, I think we made a mistake. We made an error somewhere. All right, I think the mistake that we made, this is the nature of the image that we uploaded, because as you can see, other images have taken shape, but for this image, for the latest image that we uploaded, need some replacement. I think the image orientation was not in the best shape. So let's come to desktop. We have coding. We have coding. We have Django training. All right, we need to go to. Let's go to tutorial. Blog project. Let's check under static. Then check on post. Let's use that instead. Then save. Let's come back and reload. And there we go. So the issue was the nature of the image that we had used. So we have been able to display the first 5 posts. We, however, need to do some adjustment to our code, the line of code that fetches the recent post. Remember, if we have some blog posts that we are yet to publish, or rather whose remember we added a field whereby we are supposed to save if you want to publish, or rather to have that blog at co-published, or have it saved in a database but not accessible to our users. So we need to check if that blog article is published. So in our line of code, we need to add something, because we do not want to display those blogs that probably are not complete and all that to our users. So we need to add something here. Remember, we need to filter, so we need to add dot filter, and we are filtering by is published. Is equals to true. So this one will ensure that the recent post has only those blogs that are published. So that marks the end of this tutorial. See you in the next video.